Opportunity.
All right, well, here we go, guys. We're in game number 3. Take it away.
All right, spawning down here at the bottom left-hand side of Daybreak, we do have our blue Zerg player. It's going to be GL's Snute. And at the top right, spawning in as the red Zerg, losing that last game. Going to have to win this one to advance here through the brackets. It's going to be our red Zerg player, StarTales Life.
That's right. So Life versus Snute, game number 3. Snute with a very impressive performance last game, and we'll see if he has what it takes to be a champion, or rather, to take down this champion.
Indeed, and you know, after last game, I gotta say this game looks like it could be pretty close. And Life opening with 10 drones again. I thought he might 10 pool again. He is gonna extract a drone.
I know I've told this story way too many times on stream. I don't care. I'm saying it again. There's always that moment though, whenever you look up and they've got like 110 minerals and they haven't made their overlord yet, and you're like, oh my god, he's gonna make an early pull. No, it's actually he just messed up.
I was busy typing to my opponent, and that's why my macro screwed up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's see here now as Snute, I would not expect him to deviate too much from his pool first into hatch, into roach warren play, skipping the baling nest once again. Life, though, this is kind of the curveball for me. He's picked Daybreak. Pretty much every time he's picked Daybreak and ZvZ, he goes Mutas. This certainly could be a big move for him, though.
Yeah, Muta could be a really interesting choice. It looks like he's going to hatch first here, knowing that, you know, the last 2 games Snute went for this pool at a relatively normal timing 15, and it looks like, yeah, Life is going to take that hatch first, and it's going to have a slight economical lead, but it is going to be very evened out as the game goes on because of that early queen for Snute. Okay,
so like I said, I've got at least a pretty good idea of what Snute's going to do, but I'll really be paying attention to Life here in the next couple of minutes. Because,
yeah, it worked for Snute last game, so...
Yeah. And we saw that Roach Infester play after, after Balings, which didn't really have any use in the game. I don't even think he morphed into single Baling, so he kind of was more on autopilot, like, oh, okay, this is the time, hatch first, I'm going to put down the Baling nest, even though we've already had the slowling attack, and there's no real reason to put too much of it up, because I know you're not making anything else.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he didn't cancel it, but he was probably paying way too much attention to the units at the front, making sure nothing died, because he lost almost nothing, only 1 worker in that entire engagement.
So now, with this, with gas coming up, of course he's going to have early speed, but the real tell is going to be, does he leave 3 workers on gas whenever he's collected that 100 for the Zergling speed?
Yeah, and oftentimes we do see a very fast layer, like you're talking about after that speed starts, just leaving all 3 of the guys on gas, so you can go for that 2-base layer very quickly. And Snute, again, opening with that gasless opening, very, very peculiar. We don't see this very often, except out of him.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, usually, like I said, last game was an exception. He had to combat against a 10 pool. He ended up doing a slowing attack afterwards, but more than likely we're going to see an eventual 3 queens out of him in total.
All right, well, looks like the Overlord is checking out the natural for Snute here. And I did see the gas in the main with that Overlord, so it has basically all the information he does need here. Zerglings are going to come forwards and poke a little bit, but there's not a whole lot of scouting he can do besides check if more than 100 gas has been mined here, which he's not doing. He's going to try to pick off a drone, and it looks like he does get it just at the last second, but more importantly, we do have Life mining gas still, so that Overlord may have come in and seen it. Not 100% sure. Yeah,
and this is what we were talking about before, though. It makes me think that he did get enough vision to see it, because otherwise, the drone is very cool, don't get me wrong. Anytime you can pick off a drone for 2 Zerglings, you take advantage of it. But the more important information, I think, here is making sure, yes, and we have layer, we have a second extractor, and I think we're going to see Mutas.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And, you know, I think Snute actually did see the gas, because he actually went to a 3rd and 4th queen, I believe. He's got 2 at his natural, 1 his main, and a 4th one in production here. So, yeah, queens, of course, can be a very good early muted defense. Mobile, we'll see if he drops a creep tumor, actually, and kind of get back and forth between his main and natural.
Yeah, I assume he would here in just a bit, and then on top of that, we could see him bank a little bit of his energy as well. Maybe not concentrate on his creeps right too much to make sure that he has enough for some transfusions whenever this ends up happening.
All right, well, that Roach Warren is coming down for Snute. Again, that is his early game defense here, as he does have, I believe, 2 gases up to this point. That is correct.
Yes.
And, yeah, Life going to those 4 gases as this layer is about to finish, going to get that Spire started and start banking up that gas to make 5 to 8 mutas at the very beginning as soon as it pops.
Yeah, he's already banking quite a bit. I mean, he has the potential to go up to maybe 9 or 10 mutas even. Oh, no, okay, there we go. Let's see here. Spire's on the way. Yeah, he'll probably settle around the 8 muta mark. It depends on how hard he wants to commit into this, though. He could potentially produce more and invest in that +1 weapons. If he goes for the +1 air weapons, clearly this isn't meaning to be, I'm going to make 7 mutas, then I'm going to go and I'm going to harass, and then I'm going to come back to Roach and Fester.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect to see, you know, oh, good drone pickoff by Life there, getting in before those Evo chambers do go down. But I do expect to see, you know, probably 5 to 8 to start, and somewhere between 9 and 12 to be the finishing number here as he goes and picks off Overlords around the map. Make sure that any kind of roach all-in does get deflected a little bit by the muted DPS.
All right, so, well, I mean, of course, we always know if you're going for that 7 to 8 mutas at first or something like that, you're not planning to go too much into it. The real damage that's done was always Zergling counterattacks or splitting those up. And so if you can occupy your opponent's attention enough, force them into tech, then they leave a third base exposed. In this case, though, Snute is a little bit more hardcore on 2 base than he normally is, not going up to that third quite yet. Wants to make sure that he can defend a big flock of mutas before anything else. And
he has taken a 3rd and 4th gas, you know, at a pretty normal time here, but I do expect to see an infestation pit drop in a sec, and it looks like Zerglings do get back into the main for Life here. He does get another drone kill. Good job by Snute not losing more than 1 drone at that point. However, 8 mutas are in production as these Zerglings do look like they are going to get cleaned up pretty easily, and Snute doesn't have to commit all that much to roaches here because he, you know, can expect that mutas are the tech of choice.
All right, well, he did have enough gas for more mutas if he wanted to, but he hasn't decided to go into those quite yet, so just going to sit back for a while, morphing an Overseer. He is a bit supply blocked, so he's making multiple Overlords right now to be able to clear that up. But how many Queens are out in total? Still just the 4 that we saw before. Not that many transfusions available, especially, it's always so annoying if a player actually checks and ends up going for the super high energy Queen to begin with.
All right, well, I do think that Life is making a good decision going for that 3rd base here as he picks off Overlords because, of course, he ran in with the Zerglings and did see that there were only roaches out for Snute. There was no speed or Zerglings or anything like that, and, you know, that really leaves the counterattack potential for Snute to a kind of a minimum here. So the 3rd base is going to be under pressure here with the creep spread not being all that far down quite yet, as Snute is actually supply blocked, as you were pointing out, and yeah, I think this 3rd is definitely going to have to get canceled.
Really supply blocked, too. He was at 88 over 60, so these Mutalisks have done more than enough damage. Now, there is that counterattack we were discussing. It's making its way over to the 3rd here. There's a few Zerglings that are ready for this to try and delay for a second, and that's all he wants to do because he knows if he doesn't get there in time, that is a goner.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to pick off this hatchery, and yeah, it does look like we have a Nidus network in production, and that is really interesting, actually, because the only vision he really has on the entire map as these roaches do start to get picked off and move into the natural is the 2 Overlords on either side of the main, but there are mutas out, so if those get denied, then this Nidus, you know, doesn't have a lot of potential to do damage, I don't think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. He's trying to save 1. I think this is going to be the culprit there, the one that's as far away from the main as possible, the one that'll actually drop in the Nidus network. How many workers has Snute killed on top of this? Not many, so he hasn't done that much more damage with these roaches and just lost a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but you have to remember that by investing in the mutas, Life, of course, is... Oh, he's actually going to get the Overlord in the back of the base.
There it is. Okay, so the Nidus Swarm is actually in. How many units does he actually have in the Nidus Canal? Starting to drop him in now. 2 pages of roaches.
And the Queens are going to be the big deal here. They've got to pick off those mutas. They've got to have a lot of energy for transfusions here. Oh, my goodness. Are the Queens going to get out in time?
And they do, and they're actually transfusing this up. He's actually held on to it for a while. The mutas are trying to pick this off, but they can't do it, and all the roaches make it into the main. Beautiful transfusions from Snute so far, an excellent display of micro, and now the roaches are doing damage inside of the main.
Yeah, and I don't think Life can hold on to his main base here. He's making 9 roaches. It's not going to be anywhere near enough to hold off this attack. He's only got drones to help reinforce this. His Spire has gone down. Easily Life can pick off, or Snute can pick off Life's lair here, and drones are having to be run around all over the place. Another Nidus Worm coming up in the main does get forced to be killed off, but I don't know that Life can hold this at all, Kevin.
No, this is an incredible amount of damage being done, but the thing is that he hasn't taken out a lot of stuff of consequence yet. He's dealing with the army there. That's finally good. He picked off the Spire, but that wasn't being used that much anymore. He's got to get lair. He's got to get drones right now, but look at this, ladies and gentlemen. There's a worker deficit now for Life. He's losing all of his queens. He doesn't have that much production. He just lost his lair. Things are looking amazing, and Snute may have the potential to knock out the reigning Code S champion.
Is it possible that Snute, a player that everyone would consider an underdog in this tournament or in this particular match, is going to be able to win Game 3 against the GSL champion with Nidus Worm play in ZerG versus ZerG? This is so unorthodox. Picks off the 3rd, only 1 base left for Life, and this is looking so dire.
No kidding. He's down to just 57 supply. As we can take a look, 27 workers to 51. Is he doing any damage inside of his opponent's base? Okay, it looks like he's denying this 3rd base at least over and over again, but this hasn't been touched, and there's still plenty of minerals to go around. Snute can sit on this for a very long period of time.
Wow, Infestation Pit is about to go down here, and it looks like Life is kind of composing himself He's going to have to throw out a GG pretty soon. It is 41 to 108 supply here. Snute taking a dominating lead, killing over 40 workers in this game already, and that number is only going to rise.
Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. We have had one of our biggest upsets of the tournament. We knew Snute has been playing well, but we did not know it was this well. 14 supply and falling, and that is it. GG! The reigning Codes champion is knocked out of IPL 5, and Gamers League Snute